Hello everyone, Alec DeLorean here, and I hope you're having a wonderful day so far. Now in today's video we have the best mods for Zaina, so we go through all of the mods including Legendary, Epic and Rare, and then we'll decide on if they're good or bad, and then at the very end we'll go through the mods that I like to run for Zaina to share what works for me and why I do so well with Zaina. As always, if there are any mods that I don't run that you recommend, if there's any builds that you recommend, be sure to put them in the comments below to help me out, to help anyone else out in the community. But before we get into it, if you would like to join the Patreon, Discord or become a channel member, the links are in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, this content and all things Star Wars and Marvel related, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the video. Okay, so as always we will start with the legendaries first. So first of all we have Rebel Swiftness 1, which is her legendary for 10% movement speed and 80% cooling speed, but you lose out on 20% reload duration. Now this one's pretty decent because movement speed, well, we got 2 in 1 here. 2 positives for 1 negative, and the reload duration doesn't make too much of a difference in fights because the reload duration 20% doesn't feel that much, and also there's not often times where you get to the end of the fight and you still have some clip left depending on if you hit or miss your shots, depending on who you're playing against. But yes, movement speed very good, cooling speed decent, and then reload duration isn't so bad. So then the next one is the Rebel Vengeance one, and we have minus 30% hipfire weapon spread, plus 15% weapon damage, minus 0.3% fire rate, and minus 2 ammo capacity. Now this is crazy because 15 weapon damage sounds like a lot, but it makes sense because Zaina's weapon is a slow firing blaster. So after 2 hits, you've already done an extra 30 damage, which is insane, but the shots are slow firing even before this mod. And then you're also losing out on 0.3 fire rate, which does make a big difference. It's very, very slow. But if you're going all out damage build for Zaina, because with this on, you can sometimes 2-shot, headshot the enemy scorers if they're not running the correct mods. So if you want to go for that, this mod might be for you. And then next is Rebel Vitality 1, which has plus 10% combat speed, plus 30% health, and plus 20% hip-fire weapon recoil. Now it's a similar situation where we have 2 pros and 1 con. The con is 20% hip-fire weapon recoil, which actually fire weapon recoil and hip-fire weapon recoil, I've noticed in this game, make absolutely no difference to me. So I don't see it as a negative. So in this sense, I see this legendary as only positives. So 10% combat speed and plus 30 health is actually insane, especially the 30 health for Zaina. It's really, really good at survivability, which she's already really good at. So I like this mod a lot. And then next we'll go through the purples. So the first one is Honorable Health 1, which is plus 25 health, but you lose off 5 damage fall off distance. Now the way you want to play Zaina is you want to play to heal, and the damage fall off distance doesn't make too much of a difference because you're not exactly going for kills, you're just trying to stay alive and keep your teammates alive, so it doesn't really matter too much. And the plus 25 health is exactly what you want because you want the extra health for survivability to maintain your teammates as well, because the longer you're on the battlefield, the longer your teammates will hopefully be able to stay alive. So this one is a decent one. And then the next one is Honorable Heat Capacity 1, which is plus 1 ammo capacity, but you lose 15% hipfire weapon spread. Now Zaina's weapon is slow firing, so the plus 1 ammo capacity doesn't really make much of a difference at all, and you lose 15% hipfire weapon spread, which also doesn't really feel like much. I feel like this one you could have passed it off as a blue because the pros and the cons are both not really much of a difference anyway. Maybe if you increase the ammo capacity but up by 2 more, but you also lose a bit more hipfire weapon spread, then it would be an epic. But yeah, there's not much about this one other than it just feels like a blue more than the purple. And then the last one is plus 0.3% cooling speed delay and plus 50% cooling speed. Now if you didn't know what cooling speed is, cooling speed and reload duration are 2 different things. So reload duration is when you run out of clip in your weapon and then you have to start reloading, and then the reload duration is how long it takes for you to finish that reload animation, so then you're back to a full clip. Cooling speed is if, say you're in a fight, you kill the enemy, and you've only used 3/4 of your clip. The cooling speed and the cooling speed delay is the time where it starts going back up to its maximum amount, and the cooling speed is how long it takes to get back to the maximum amount. So it's good if you don't reload often. Like if you've noticed with a hunter that you're using that they are not using their full click before you kill a lot of the enemies, cooling speed would be for you, because then you can get back to basically full ammunition by the time you get into the next fight. So if that's for you, this mod would be for you. So that's all the purples. Let's have a look at the blues. So the blues are unique in which they're the only ones where every single blue in the game has only pros but no cons. The only difference is that you don't get much from blues and they're the cheapest. So I think they're a good trade-off usually, because it usually when you're making a build for someone, you've got all these big legendaries or epics for the first 2 slots, and then you're not really sure what to put for the last one. That's where the blues come in, and they fill out the slots pretty decent there. So the first one is just +2 weapon damage, which is decent. It's not too bad. But for Zaina, with the slow firing speed, I don't think 2 damage would make much of a difference. If you think about it, if you hit 3 or 4 shots in a row, you're still doing less than 10 damage, and it's not really going to make much of a difference in a fight. So the weapon damage, plus of course, you're a healer, you're not really going for kills anyway. And then the next one is +20 health straight up, which is always very good. The blue health ones are always really, really good overall for any hunter, good to go with. So +20 health, very good, the best blue in the game. And then the last one is -20% hip fire weapon spread, which like I mentioned before, the relay duration and the hip fire weapon spread and all them weapon spread ones don't make much of a difference, so I don't think I'd ever buy any of these. I wouldn't use this one. The health one is definitely much better, but yeah, that's all I can say about the blues. So finally, as you can see, I've used a lot of the mods for Zaina because she was the very first hunter that I bought a lot of mods for. Like I think pretty sure she's the only one with all legendaries unlocked for me. But this is the build that I've been going with. So the first one is Rebel Swiftness 1, so I've been going for that movement speed and cooling speed, which is very decent. Well, I'm not crazy for the cooling speed, but 80% is pretty nasty. And then movement speed is a must because you're a hard person to hit. Extra 10% movement speed, you're even harder to hit, and you only lose off 20%. Reload duration for Zaina, which isn't too bad. So that's my first one. The second one is another legendary in which it's Rebel Vitality 1. So I have the extra 10% combat speed to go with the 10% movement speed from the other mod. I also get a bunch of health with +30 health, and I only lose out on 20% hipfire weapon recall, which really does not make any difference with Zaina at all. So I feel like this is another mod where it's literally only pros to this mod, so it's like, why not run it, you know? So that's the second legendary, and of all the legendaries that I've been using. And then the last one is just the honorable health one, which is purely just for the extra 25 health. You lose 5 meters of damage fall off, but I'm not really going for kills for Zaina. I'm just here for survivability. So the more health I can have, like if pairing up with this, I got the extra 30 health on top of that, an extra 25 health on that, so that's an extra 55 health just from these 2 mods alone. Now if you really cared about that damage fall off distance, you could go with the blue one because it's basically the same amount of health that you get. This one's 20, the epic is 25, so you're only losing that on 5 health, but you don't have any cons with that one, so it's up to you. This is the build that I like to use. And then if I really wanted to do damage, I would probably actually take off the epic and replace it with the damage mod, legendary damage mod, because that's got +15 weapon damage, which is insane. But overall, this is the build that I've been going with. It's a general build, a lot of health to keep you alive, a lot of movement speed and combat speed to keep you alive as well. It's just a survivability build, which helps me so much because I'm alive for longer with Zaina in the matches, and because of that I'm healing more teammates, and because of that they're getting more kills because they're staying alive longer. It's like a big chain reaction, and yeah, I just really enjoy this build for Zaina. There you go, those are my mods for Zaina, the best mods for Zaina. I'm pretty happy with the build that I went with. And like I said, if you want to do a damage Zaina, then by all means go for the other legendary. But let me know in the comments below if there's any mods that you use for Zaina that I haven't been using, and if there's any different build that you recommend, put them in the comments below to help me out or anyone else in the community. But I won't keep you any longer though, so if you would like to join the Patreon, Discord, or become a channel member, the links are in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, this content, and all things Star Wars and Marvel related, be sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.